Welcome, everyone, to the Wild Wild West for the penultimate race in GLTS. I'm Hunter Brittle alongside my good friend Elliot Henderson, ready to bring you all the action live on Split Second Broadcasting. The big story this week is that Nathan Jump, season-long favorite who has been nothing but dominant, can clinch the championship tonight if he just gains 7 points over teammate Zach Henry. Elliot, with Jump's recent form, is there any reason that can't happen tonight?
I mean, unless he gets involved in something, but he's already out-qualified him here. Starts 4th. Zach's going to line up 8th. As much as we want to see a dogfight for the championship, Jump's been phenomenal in these mile-and-a-half tracks. He's got almost a 4.0 average finish. It's honestly a 3.8, so it's even better. But he's just done nothing wrong. So if he just continues what he's done all season, he'll walk out of here, if not the champion, pretty much in the spot to be able to do it next week by just starting and running 10 laps and hoping a couple guys knock out. I can't imagine anything would change from that. He's just got to do what he's done all season.
As a man with multiple GLTS championships yourself, it really just does come down to not making mistakes when we get into these chase scenarios, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of situations that can happen, but there's always one race that can change the whole complexion. And I think for someone like Zach, that was probably Indy when he had a chance to go and win that race, and him and Cincy made contact, and it ultimately took him out of the running to win that event. And I think that was kind of his flip. Jump hasn't really had one, and in most cases, the guy that doesn't make mistakes will win the championship. And unless that happens tonight or next week, it just doesn't look like Jump's going to run into that.
Speaking of Zach Henry, the pressure's on him. We're going to put the mic on him here, and we'll bring him up into the booth to get his opinion. Zach Henry, it's Brittle and the boys up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Well, man, all eyes are on you tonight. You've got a 36-point gap to your teammate Nathan Jump to try and make up. And if he gets more than 7 on you tonight, it's all over. Do you feel like you've got the speed to contend with him and take the fight back to him when we get back to Homestead?
I mean, I definitely think I can run with him and contend with him, but I'm probably going to need a little bit more help than just beating him. I don't know. I mean, we're just out here racing, having fun, but if I really want to shot at that championship, I'll probably need him to get wrecked either tonight or next week, just for me to have any realistic shot at it.
Well, crazier things have happened in this league, let me tell you. How are you feeling about the speed you've got here tonight at Legacy, Texas? This is the old one, not the new one.
I'm feeling pretty good. I tried this setup that we're running for the first time maybe a couple hours ago, just to get a feel for it, and it is a lot of fun to drive. It's loose from the get-go, and it just wears looser, and I feel like that plays to my advantage at a track like this. So we'll see what happens. I mean, you never really know until we all start running together. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope it's going to be fun to watch.
I believe it will be. I tested that setup myself. It looks like it could be a lot of fun tonight, and we'll be watching all night long. Thanks for talking to us, Zach, and good luck tonight. Let's take it to Homestead and see what you guys got in the last race here. Don't give it to him tonight.
I don't plan on it.
All right, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Zach Henry there with hope. I was hoping for a little more confidence out of the guys. I mean, starting back in 8th, he can see the 25 out his front windshield. He knows what he's got to get. It's just a matter of actually getting up there on the high horse and going and getting it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to that. It's just he's got to go hard, and Jump can kind of sit back and let this all work out towards himself. So, quick notes before we go through the lineup here. Ross Brockman, Aiden DuPont, both starting from pit road. DuPont had to change his box, and Ross just had an issue, couldn't grid. So we'll have to see how that works out. Fuel's very close. We can do about 33 laps. So if they can go 34, they can make it a 2-stopper. Watch for guys like McConville to potentially deploy that strategy. But we'll go through the grid here, as I believe we're getting ready to go next time by.
Next time by, lights are out on the pace truck, and we'll take you through the lineup here. Jared Darling putting that number 1 truck on position number 1 here. He will lead the field to green. And to his outside, Mike McConville. We've seen some flashes of brilliance from Mike here in the past couple races. Let's hoping that he can return to form and maybe make some noise here tonight in Texas.
Spencer Owens, probably one of his best qualifying efforts of the season, starting 3rd tonight as he tries to make his climb through the points. Nathan Jump to his outside, trying to win this championship tonight.
Matt Durr and Ashton Lawson line up in the third lane here. Two drivers both desperately looking for a good return to form here out in Texas.
With Shane Neiswanger and Zach Henry right there behind them, starting 8th and 9th tonight.
Jackson Sims starts from the 9th position, and then to his outside, Adolfo Delgado, making his long-awaited return to GLTS, will start in the 10th position here as the pace truck dives onto pit road. We're ready to go racing here out in Texas. The green flag is up. Jared Darling sees the starter. Flag is waving, and away we go out here in Texas, and Jared Darling has a nice little gap back to Spencer Owens as they rocket off into turn 1.
Yeah, bottom line got really excited. I even heard Spencer mic up and say sorry for getting all over the back of Jared. He didn't know when he was going to go. McConville under pressure from Jump, who looked like he wanted to shove it 3 wide. Thought better of it this early on, but obviously Jump with really nothing to lose. I mean, he could potentially have something go wrong and be fine. Sensi all the way to the apron. Potential issues off of turn 2 for Michael Sensi after starting 13th, but everyone seems to get through 1 and 2 and down into 3 and 4 nice and clean. Multiple lanes going on. You can see 4 different lanes at one point, especially back there with Sims, Barbagelata, Henry, and Adolfo Delgado through 3 and 4, but it's Jared Darling and Spencer Owens as they dive off into turn 1.
Mike McConville definitely had a little bit of a slip up there over the course of the first lap. He has fallen back to the 4th position. You saw Nathan Jump looking to his inside, and now he's got the position. Jump with a lot of confidence here, and it being shown he only needs 7 points over his teammate Zach Henry to clinch this championship, and he's going to go get it in just about the true Nathan Jump way here as he holds that 3rd place position here as they flash back across the line. 3 completed this time.
Yeah, 1 lap led for Jump is a point back in his pocket, so anything he can do here to try to gain those 7 points is obviously what he's going to try to do. Obviously, the only 2 things he can do is really lead the most laps.
Adolfo Delgado's around on the back. In his long-awaited return, Adolfo Delgado doesn't even last 3 laps here as he slapped the outside wall off of 2. I saw it coming when he slapped the wall there. He hit the wall, and then when he bounced back off of there, the 5 of Brent Kingcott was underneath, and it was all over but the crying there as he gets turned sideways down into the inside wall. So a big hit here as the caution waves out here in Texas early on.
Yeah, definitely not what we want to see from Delgado. Obviously, a really strong qualifying run too. Started up around 10th position, and you'll watch it back here as, just like Brittle was saying, he just kind of caught the outside wall, and it just all went awry from there as we pull it up for you here.
Can we chalk this one up to cold tires, Elliot, or was this just getting back into the throttle too early here? We were on lap 3 of this race. Had the tires warmed up at that point, or was that just a matter of getting back in the throttle too early, trying to race the guy to the inside of you?
I don't know. I think it's definitely situational as well because Delgado could have probably stayed higher than where he was, and Brent gave him plenty of room out there, but yeah, the trucks are going to get kind of tight, but I wouldn't say that was cold tires. I think, yeah, that was more of a throttling up and trying to get back to the gas and trying to beat that guy on corner exit. And, like you see here, you saw Eric Kepf get a little tight in front of him, and Delgado, unfortunately, couldn't keep it up towards the wall, came across Brent's nose. Brent, luckily, avoids a lot of damage, but we have a few pit stops going on with Mike McConville, and I saw a couple other takers there, but McConville already employing this potentially 2-stop strategy from the get-go. Although with this caution, I feel like a lot of these other guys can pretty much do that just based off these caution laps. So we'll have to see how this works out with fuel, but that caution might be a big break for all these guys to maybe make this a 2-stopper instead of having to split this up into 3 different stops.
Yeah, just about half the field followed Mike McConville down, and not a lot of guys at the front did, but the back half of the field, and then a couple sprinkled in more towards the front, I'll say around the 10th or so position, came in with them. So with the fuel run, Elliott, being roughly 31 to 33 laps and this being a 100-lap race, these guys who stayed out, they're right on the money for being able to make it a 2-stop race. Those guys, I can't really fault those guys who pit to come down and just get a little security in the bank and in the fuel tank, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if they decided to take tires. If they didn't take tires, it's probably one of the better strategies. Come down, make sure you have enough. Now they can go to 35, 36 and kind of play their own strategy however they want. All these other guys are basically, like you said, they're going to be stuck making it to maybe 34 or 35 at a maximum, but then what does that give them for the next run? Are they going to be able to make that distance to go the rest of the way on one stop? So I think pitting here is a really it's a bold choice because it puts you back in that mess, and it's obviously kind of difficult to pass here, and just how many lanes you have and all the choices, and the fact that people can get caught up pretty quickly in something they're not involved in initially. But I think it's the right choice if this goes green. We'll just have to see if it goes green.
Yeah, taking that pit stop there puts you back in what we refer to as the snake pit very affectionately here in the Great Lakes Truck Series, where that's where all the action seems to happen. It doesn't really happen back up in the front of the pack, but it happens towards the back here. But when we go back to green here, we're going to have a Spectrum lockout of the front row with Jared Darling retaining his pole position with Spencer Owens to his outside here. Pace truck dives onto pit road this time. They're looking for the flag once again. Green flag is out, and they're away with a shot, and it's just a mirror image of what happened at the start. Jared Darling leads him off into one.
Yeah, Shane Neiswanger has completely disappeared as well. That's hopefully not going to be bad news for him. We'll have to see if he comes back. I don't see his truck back yet, though. Other news, William Barbagelata was the only one that took tires right there, so watch for him to potentially try this long run and have some fresher rubber. It'll be interesting because they only ran about 2 or 3 laps, but he was in the thick of it when that all started, so probably the more strategic position for him. Everyone else seemed to just take fuel there, but I don't believe Shane Neiswanger is going to come back.
No, that definitely looks like a drop in connectivity here. We haven't seen that on the log yet, but that's going to prove absolutely detrimental to Shane's efforts tonight here, as Nathan Jump has arrived at the front of the field here, and he is all over the back bumper of Jared Darling, and to the point that he's pressuring him so hard, Jared Darling blocks to the inside to hold it as if this were a road race, and it's going to work this time with Jared wrapping the bottom there, but Nathan Jump has come to party out here in Texas.
Man, he wanted to block Spencer Owens, but Spencer, I like this a little bit more aggressive than what we've seen. He doesn't need to care what Jump's doing. Spencer's sitting here still trying to go for third in points. There's a lot up for grabs for these guys that aren't racing for this championship, and that was a really nice move by Spencer to try to stay with the 25. But now you see Jump trying to get to the inside of Jared Darling. He's thread the needle. Jared through the block. Everyone being kind of aggressive. They all know how important this clean air is to try to get to that lead.
Three of the best mile-and-a-halfers, Elliot, we were talking about it in the pre-race, 3 of the best mile-and-a-halfers in this league doing battle up here early on with 10 down here in the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, and just to mention that third place battle, as Spencer Owens looked back to the inside, Jared didn't get through 1 and 2 that well and jumps all over the back of him, but Spencer Owens comes in here just 5 points behind Jared Darling, 6 points ahead of Jackson Sims, all 3 of those guys with a chance for this third in points. So, I mean, anything's up for grabs for even these guys, but don't look now. The guy up in 4th has a bead on the top 3, and he's trying to make himself known.
Yep, Zach Henry back there lurking in that black number 12. Watching this gap build to the front 3 here, Elliot. Is that a little bit of a tire saving as we get into the middle part of this run here, or are the top 3 just that much faster than him?
Man, I think so. He's probably just trying to save a little bit. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go back to Gavin Fitzgerald for a half a second. He got really loose in the middle of 1 and 2 as Nathan Jump actually leads that lap. That's going to be a point towards him as he tries to battle on this outside lane. You got to wonder if Zach's probably just sitting back here trying to conserve. He didn't have the best qualifying effort that I'm sure he wishes he could have, but he knows that watching that 25 drive off into the middle of nowhere is not going to help him either. So he's got to get himself up there and make his presence known, but at the same time, he's got to make sure that those tires stay up under him and he can make it through this whole run. As Jared Darling leads that lap, that's beneficial to Zach. He needs to make sure that Jump isn't the most laps led here. That's just another point against him.
He's already conceded 1 point with Nathan Jump leading that lap 2 laps ago. Can Zach Henry track him back down and try and get a point of his own here to lead a lap as Matt Durr's in the wall and Ashton Lawson looks to the inside of him, trying to make a move to capitalize here as we've got fighting all around this racetrack here. Great battles all around. As you heard it from Zach earlier, we're running a non-iRacing setup tonight here. This is a third-party set that was provided to us by a friend of ours, and it's proving to put on a heck of a show here early on.
Yeah, and these guys are definitely having some qualms with it. We mentioned Gavin Fitzgerald, Matt Durr. Those guys back there are realizing how tight this thing gets. They're sliding all over the place. Jared Darling nearly up into jump. It gets both of them out of the throttle. What can Spencer Owens do? He tries to go up the middle. He's going to push Jared Darling down the front stretch here. He thought about something, but nowhere he could really go. But you could see just how close those two trucks got together and just what the arrow did to Jump's truck. But right now, it looks like the top's able to hold the line. You just got to wonder what those tires will look like for Nathan Jump as this run keeps going. Jared Darling, not usually known for his long run pace. Nathan Jump, very much known for that. Spencer Owens, another one that's really good at saving tire as well. So it'll be interesting to see how Spencer really plays this out. We never really see him start up towards the front here, but he's got himself in a really good spot to manage this race, and he's doing a great job sitting there still back in third.
Those three locked in battle here as they flash across the line again. 16 down here in Texas. Jared Darling going back to the lead, and Nathan Jump slips back to third here behind Spencer Owens, their teammates to Jared Darling here. He's going to put the crossover on him though. Go back to the inside. Jared Darling to the inside. Spencer Owens on the outside. Who's going to be there off of 4 as Jared Darling starting to open up a little bit of a gap on these guys. And don't look now. Here comes the 12 of Zach Henry in tow.
Yeah, I thought for a second that was going to be Jump conceding the spot and realizing that the bottom was where we really wanted to be, and that's going to now make the space going around Spencer Owens to try and get there. Now he slips up, Spencer slips up, Spencer to the inside, Zach Henry to the outside. They're all sliding everywhere. Jump says thank you, but he's not clear yet, and Spencer's still trying to get there.
Two guys who can't get enough of this are the 1 of Jared Darling and the 12 of Zach Henry. He is absolutely having a blast right there as that 25 starts to get reeled in there. Zach goes to the inside to push Spencer Owens around Jared Darling. Not going to get there this time. Spencer gets the position, but it's going to be 2 25-11 teammates and the 1-2 in the championship in a dogfight for third here as the pack has now, as Ashton Lawson gets in the wall, backs into Jackson Sims here. The pack, I was just getting ready to say it, the pack had all started to come back together again, and that's what you get with close racing. One mistake, and that's 2 trucks with relatively heavy damage.
Yeah, not good for the 26. I'm sure Sims will be able to survive that a good bit, but you don't want any of that side force gone out of the truck. Obviously, that side damage not going to help the 26 of Ashton Lawson, who looked like he was on a pretty big tear there, but at the same time, that bottom lane just doesn't look like it has the grip. And we're still watching this battle, but we're going to go to a commercial break as unfortunately they go 3 wide because I thought it was going to calm down a little bit, but we'll take our first break here and catch you back up when we get back in on the action.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5.
Okay.
Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Welcome back to the Texas Motor Speedway, where we have a new leader, and he's starting to check out in the form of Spencer Owens. He has driven around the now fading #1 truck of Jared Darling, who is locked in a battle for that second spot with Nathan Jump, and he has opened up a half a second gap and gaining as 4 cars now underneath the blanket for this second spot. Here comes Zach Henry to the back bumper of Nathan Jump. Thinks better of it to make a move this time, but there's still 3 wide back there for third.
Yeah, something I've noticed that Zach's doing is he's lifting a lot into turn 1. And it's giving him really good drive off. That was kind of exasperated by the fact that the 25 and the 1 got next to each other and kind of lost a little bit of air there. But the 12 of Zach Henry is really working 1 and 2 a lot differently than everybody else, it seems. And it was working until kind of right there. He got really loose off of 2, couldn't keep the rear tires under him as Jackson Sims catches the outside wall as well. Looks like the truck's just maybe skatey down the straightaways, but now we'll have to see what Jump can do with some clean track in front of him. Just Spencer Owens up the road a little bit. And to catch up on the guys that pitted before, McConville, Sensi, 8th and 10th now on their drive up. Remember, they have about probably 3 or 4 laps of extra fuel, I'd say. Same amount of tires as everybody else, but doing a really good job of driving up through this field right now, not having to manage fuel virtually at all as we get closer to this first pit stop.
Yeah, Mike, the Mike and Mike show as, wow, Matt Durr slaps the outside wall there. He's going to lose a couple positions now to the Mike and Mike show there in McConville and Sensi as they start to go around him here. So tires fading on as Mike McConville slips up. This is a loose setup that we've gotten these cars, and it has provided some awesome shots here as they flash back across the line. 28 completed this time here in Texas.
Yeah, we have been watching McConville struggle, and I think that that's just due to the fact that he's been driving this truck really hard this run to try to gain back these spots. He knows just how much this strategy matters, and he needs to try to move himself up towards the front. He's only about 3.5 seconds off the lead, though, so definitely doing himself a good job of gaining that distance, but right now struggling to really gain any more spots with those rear tires. As Jackson Sims is at the inside of Zach Henry, Nathan Jump has checked out, and Jared Darling, Jackson Sims, and Zach Henry all kind of struggling for that third spot now. I really expected Zach to have more pace, but I believe he's just kind of run the rears off as everybody else kind of has, and now he's just stuck trying to battle these guys for third.
Yeah, we're really starting to close up on our first pit window for those guys who didn't pit under the first caution there. So tires at their maximum here in terms of a fuel run and a tire run. So we are truly seeing now who has saved the best tires, and apparently outside of Spencer Owens, it's the six of Jackson Sims, as he has now cleared the 12 of Zach Henry and is looking to clear the 1 of Jared Darling this time in the corner. He's not going to get it out of here as he slips up there and now is going to fall back into the clutches of Zach Henry.
Man, that is just prime racing right there. Sims usually really good at this tire saving strategy, and he was definitely showing it there, but just trying to get a little bit too much out of it off of turn 2 as now Jared Darling's going to slip up, and now we have Zach Henry and Sims right to his back bumper. Zach's going to give Jared a bit of a push that doesn't really benefit Sims, but I mean, these 3 guys between Sims, Nathan Jump, and Spencer Owens, we always talk about being really good at long run pace, and we always talked about Spencer Owens. If you would just qualify up towards the front, he'd be running up front. Here he is, started third, still running in the lead, actually maintaining over Nathan Jump right now.
Definitely those 2 cars have checked out on this group, who have just been in an absolute dogfight, and that dogfight's about to bring the 63 of Eric Kepf to the fight. Haven't really mentioned his name throughout the entire chase. He's been having a rough go at it, but tonight looking to make some speed here as he is running in the 6th position and closing down on this group of 3 who have undoubtedly been wearing those tires out, fighting lap after lap.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of at that point, though. I can't say that anyone's worn them out more than anyone else. I think Jared, to his point, is just kind of he was stuck battling Jump, then he had to battle Spencer, now he had to battle everybody else. I think he's kind of a little worse for wear because of where he started. Obviously, to clean air, it doesn't really help you at the beginning because you're driving so hard that you're wearing those rears more than everybody else behind you. And this run has gone on. You've just seen what that's done to his truck. But Eric kept making himself known, trying to get up that top 5.
Gavin Fitzgerald just put Michael Cinzi in the wall off of 2. Those two drivers had been side by side for the last lap and a half. And we've known the history between these two. There is absolutely some beef there, and looks like it's just going to continue as Gavin really got into that throttle and just slid right up into the 37, and it resulted in that black 37 going into the outside wall. So that's going to be a storyline to follow. As we've got pit stops on here, Nathan Jump is going to be the first one to elect to come down, and he's going to be followed by the one of Jared Darling. It's just those two this time, but pit stops have started, Elliot.
34 laps is really tight to the mark, especially if they can only do 32 or 33. So we'll have to see how that ends up working out for them as everybody else comes down. Sims, Eric Kep, and others in tow. And yeah, we saw what happened between Sensi and Gavin Fitzgerald. That puts McConville as the first guy on that different strategy. Sensi going to have some serious side damage from that. Probably not going to have the truck that he wishes he'd have, as Caressel now battling him for what is currently the 6th spot.
Definitely some heavy damage on the side of that 37 here. We're going to have to follow along to see how he handles that going through as everybody else starts to hit pit road. And boy, that was a close moment there for Nathan Jump, almost running right into the back of the 14 of Gavin Fitzgerald here. As hard on the brakes is Ashton Lawson coming into pit road there. Going to have to go back and look and see if he had incurred a penalty on that, because that was the most aggressive entry we've seen thus far in this race. Ashton Lawson very much known for being aggressive all around the racetrack. And that was no exception. Elliot, the fall off on these tires over the course of the run here, and this pit cycle is going to prove crucial in this. We've lost about 2 seconds in lap time over the course of a run. How much is that going to affect these guys who have pit earlier versus the ones who pit later?
We'll have to see how it works. Usually at the beginning, it's going to be beneficial, but the longer they run, with how slidey these trucks have been, I think I'd want the fresher tires. So if I can run 3 or 4 laps longer, I think that's going to be a benefit to these guys, especially when it comes to the fuel mileage game and everything they're trying to do here. So it's a different story if you've got guys that are, trying to go 10, 15 laps like we saw in real life at like Darlington. But with just a short stint of 3 or 4 laps in between pit stops, I think it's actually going to benefit these guys that can run a little bit longer here. Granted, these guys aren't on fresher tires, so they're definitely running pretty bad lap times when it comes down to it. But we've got Caressel coming in this time, and I'm waiting to see when we've got Sensi. I believe Sensi and McConville are also going to pit right here.
Boy, you want to know somebody who didn't have a good pit cycle? That is the 6 of Jackson Sims, busted for too fast on pit road here, and he had to take a drive-through penalty. He is now 1 lap down, back in the 25th position. So in that fight for that 3rd place in the championship, this is not going to help him out in this one, as he incurs a major penalty early on in this event.
We haven't really been talking about it, but Nathan Jump has come out well ahead of competition Spencer Owens, who did not get on the pit road, I believe, that well compared to what Jump was able to do, or didn't have a clean enough pit stop. Jump with over 2 seconds out on the 23. So right now, put Jump up to the lead. Spencer Owens back in 2nd with Jared Darling in tow for 3rd as we work through this first round of pit stops.
I do believe that is also, chalk that up also to Jump pitting 2 laps earlier than Spencer. Jump now has 6 laps on his tires, while Spencer Owens has 4. So it's going to be interesting to see how that 2-lap difference is going to affect the 25 here, as Spencer Owens has gotten around teammate Jared Darling for what is effectively the 3rd place or for the 2nd place position, and now sets his sights on the 25's tailgate to try and go run him back down.
Yeah, the only drivers left to pit are going to be Lewis Woodall and Ross Brockman, as we're trying to get touring fixed for you, but that is currently how they run on track. I believe Lewis has just hit pit road, and Brockman is currently on track.
Brockman hits pit road this time. Lewis Woodall still the only one out on track as far as I can see. Nope, I take that back. Scoring has updated. The 25 to the lead here as Ross Brockman's on pit road getting his service. This time he is down and away now. And Nathan Jump coming out with still a 2-second, like you said, 2-second gap, and that is maintaining as he starts to slice through lap traffic here early on. He's gotten by the 93 of Evan Snyder and sets his sights next on the 8 of Adolfo Delgado.
Yeah, how about old Nathan Nixon over here as well, running 4th? I'm not sure if he pitted early or where he is on that strategy, but he's jumped pretty much everybody behind him. Zach Henry, Eric Keff, Chris Heller, Matt Durr, all these guys that he was behind, he's now flipped himself ahead of everyone. So currently in 4th, just biding his time after starting 14th and having a pretty solid run, Nathan Nixon.
That is absolutely, and you can look at our scoring pile, and there's a sea of blue and one Nathan Nixon up there in red in the 4th place position. But he is now on 16, coming to 17 lap old tires, pitted 6 laps before Nathan Jump and Jared Darling then. So that just goes to show you how much that tire difference is. And as he was able to jump all those positions, but he will be pitting much sooner than everybody else and puts him on a completely different strategy from the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's probably on that 3-stop strategy, going to do about 25, 50, 75. So he's probably going to pit here another 10 or so laps if that's what he's trying to do. That is the option. And obviously it's gained him spots here, but we'll have to see how that works all the way through, or if a caution could potentially fall his way and gain him track position. In this scenario, if he gets a caution right here, that's a major gain for him position-wise, considering he was running about 15th before all that happened. So to be top 5 and have a spot gain is pretty good for him. But right now, Spencer Owens cutting in that lead little by little as we close in on the halfway point of this race.
Yeah, he's definitely still chopping into that lead here as we look on there. You see we've got a good battle going on back in the mid pack here around the 13th position between Mike McConville, William Barbagelata making his long-awaited return to GLTS, and Michael Sinzi as well. This has been a good group I've been keeping my eye on for the last couple laps or so, but Mike McConville proving to triumph over this as he starts his march back towards the front here with some of the newest tires on the track right now.
Yeah, obviously McConville, Sensi, Caressel all pitting really late. Caressel actually had an issue. Adams Warren was coming off of pit road as Caressel was trying to get onto pit road. So unfortunately, Caressel ended up losing a bit of time through that. I noticed getting onto pit road, and that's what put him a little bit behind. He was pretty much on Sensi's bumper going down the backstretch before they pit, and unfortunately lost a bit of time through that interchange. But right now, Spencer Owens within a second, looking at that 25, getting a little hungry.
46 laps down here, make it 47 down here in Texas, and we will be right back after a short break to bring you all the action.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up, and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Welcome back to the Texas Motor Speedway, where it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. Spencer Owens has reclaimed the lead and has already opened up a gap of just about 1 second on Nathan Jump here, and it really is turning into a tale of two different cars here, as they are both 2 plus seconds over the next car.
Yeah, and we got to see what this ends up doing strategy-wise. I just keep looking back at that 7th place truck, man. Mike McConville just working his way up here ever so slightly. Obviously, we know him, Sensi, Caressel, and others are well good on fuel. Can Owens and Jump make it? Obviously, Jump pitted on 34, so he believes that he'll be able to go enough to make that work. Spencer should be pretty solid, but you just got to wonder if they're going to end up having enough fuel here to the end. We'll have to see how that works out.
Yeah, when I was crowdsourcing the fuel runs before the race, I was getting a lot of 33s, but that was a 33s that was in a pack and packed up behind one another, getting the draft off of another car. Those who were saying single car runs, it was more towards the 31s. So that's very interesting here as these cars get spread out. We're in a bit of a 1.5 mile conveyor belt here, with all the different trucks being spread out in this race here. As you see, Mike McConville starting to take the fight to Eric Kepf here. That's for that 6th position, with Chris Heller up there for the 5th position. A three-way battle here for the final top 5 spot here. But yeah, this fuel is definitely going to be a story here as we get on into it. But it's not going to be a problem for Mike McConville, as he is to the inside of Eric Kepf, very soundly moving his way up through the field here. A great day for Mike McConville as he continues his march to the front.
Tell you what else isn't a problem for McConville, just pace. Eric Kepf came over the radio and just goes, McConville's flying. He is the fastest guy on track by a margin, knocked out probably a few tenths out of Spencer Owens' gap to him. Granted, it's still 10 seconds, but he is just picking him up and putting him down. As you see, he already got around Kepf, and he's looking to displace Chris Heller through 1 and 2 this time by, and then he's got a pretty big margin until he gets up to Zach Henry, looking about 5.5 seconds. But McConville on the march, and this is going to put him in the top 5 as he gets a little loose with the rear tires, as has been happening. But right now, he's got the freshest stuff, and he's making do with it.
I mean, when you got the fresh tires, you just got to take it and run with it here. As you see, Nathan Nixon, we talked about him. He is on pit road now with his, I wanted to say a crazy off strategy, but it's certainly one of the strategies of all time here, as Nathan Nixon hits pit road to receive his service for, it's not quite going to be the final time. He's still going to have to make one more stop, as we're about 10 laps away from being able to make it to the end of this race, Elliot.
Yeah, I mentioned that some guys might try a 3-stop strategy at the beginning of this race. That puts you at 25, 50, 75, and it looks like that's what Nixon's going with. He might not think that he has the outright pace to be able to make the 2-stopper work or deal with the tires all the way through. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, when these guys pit this next time by, he'll jump back up to probably 5th, 6th on track again. And if he can catch a lucky caution, it'll put him in a really good spot with track position. So that could be a strategy. At the end of the day, some of these guys aren't really trying to do it out of long game. They're trying to look at the short game and get some track position gain through some yellows and some lucky breaks. But right now, the guy who still doesn't need lucky breaks as we were watching it, McConville and Heller racing really hard. And on the other end, we were just watching Gavin Fitzgerald, who's being caught by Michael Sensi. We're all waiting to see what happens in that moment as McConville looks to the outside of Heller for that 5th spot.
Well, we've got 2 different races, and I don't know which one to watch here. As Heller slips up, slams the door on Mike McConville there to throw the block. Mike McConville saying nothing doing, fires it down into the inside. easily clears the 11 here as he's going to slip back up, and it looks like Chris Heller is just absolutely suffering on his tires. You could see the wiggle there in 3 and 4 here as Mike McConville has cleared the spot, moved Mike up into the top 5 for the first time since those opening pit stops. He is back and with a vengeance.
I mean, Mike threw an absolute slider, but you could see how hard Heller tried to get in the throttle there, and it just did nothing. The rears just spun in the middle of the corner for him. Very frustrating on Heller's point of view, but Mike still, through that, lost some time, but is still gaining on Spencer Owens as Sensi is under attack from, looks like Lewis Woodall back here for about the 11th spot. A bunch of little battles going on around the 10th position here.
Yeah, this is awesome racing that we've received from this looser setup that we've gotten tonight here as Lewis Woodall fires it underneath the 37 of Michael Sensi here. Lewis has only 1 lap fresher tires than the 37, but as we get to the end of these runs, and we've seen it over the course of this season, Elliot, that tire gap, it just gets exponentially more obvious as we get later on into these runs.
Yeah, it depends how hard you're driving the car, and don't forget, since he's struggling with a little bit of damage that he suffered earlier, although it doesn't visibly look that bad the last time I looked at it. You got to wonder if maybe he didn't hit the wall as hard as we initially thought, but you got to think that that's still something that he's dealing with as Caressel's now looking to his outside. Caressel's been really fast over these long runs. Obviously, teammate to Mike McConville. They might both know something that we all don't, but McConville continuing to just look towards Zach Henry now and cut some gap out of that lead to Spencer Owens, as you can almost see that Caressel's kind of dirt tracking through 3 and 4, but makes it work as he's trying to gain some more ground on Sensi. How about that lead up there, though? Credit to Spencer Owens. Remember, he was 1.5, 2 seconds ahead, ended up 2 seconds behind, and now he's up 3 seconds. He has just been class of the field tonight, lights out, and you just got to wonder, man, if he would have qualified every week, where he'd be.
That is a real sticking point with you. I mean, I can't really blame you. We used to have an inside joke here in Great Lakes in the Great Lakes racing that hot lapping don't mean nothing, and Spencer Owens making it obvious whether or not he intends to that hot lapping does mean something here as he continues to just put time and space in between Nathan Jump. The gap's almost up to 4 seconds now as we near pit stops once again.
Tell you what this is really doing, though, is it's got to be making Jared Darling a little bit nervous. Spencer came in here, again, we mentioned it, 5 points behind Jared, so that little battle for third in points is certainly not done. Obviously, Sims had his issues. He's still down to 17th, trying to work his way back, but right now, that's putting a lot of pressure on Jared Darling, and they're going to have a fun little battle going into Homestead for that third place in points. And don't look now, but McConville still just kind of eking it out. He's about 2 seconds behind Jared Darling, closing in on that 4th spot, and it'll be another second up the running order to Zach Henry, who's moved up to 3rd now, trying to chase down Nathan Jump.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can remember. Well, I'm sure you can, but going into Homestead, Spencer Owens and Jared Darling are some of the best guys at Homestead, which is where our final race of the season is next week. So those guys, if they're anywhere near each other in points, that's going to be an epic race to watch, and we'll have it all live for you here on Split Second Broadcasting next week. But here in the here and now, Spencer Owens has got a 4. Every time I look back at the scoring monitor, it's another second back to Nathan Jump.
Yeah, Jump is really struggling now with those tires, and these guys are all just trying to make this work. They've got another lap here before they can really pit and call it done. So it looks like Jared Darling has actually hit pit road now. That's right on the cusp, but he'll have to go those 34 laps. It'll be interesting to see if he can make that work, but it looks like they're all going to probably start pitting this time by then because Jump was the first one on pit road last time. Looks like Jared's going to throw the gauntlet down and try to do it now.
Yep, Spencer Owens neglects to go another time. I can't really blame him there, but then Nathan Jump hits pit road, and there you see the black 12 of Zach Henry flashing by very quickly. He had closed up to Nathan Jump within half a second right before Jump pitted. So that long run pace that we talked about with Zach Henry, it's starting to rear its head here as he continues to lap around the racetrack once more, trying to get every advantage he can as we hit the final fuel run of the night.
Spencer Owens hitting pit road this time by Eric Kemp. Apparently had a really, really tough entry onto pit road. Gavin Fitzgerald hitting pit road as well, supposedly. Spencer Owens looks like he gets in pretty much okay. I believe Zach Henry, no, he's going to pit. I thought Zach was going to try to stay out and gain another lap. And how about McConville switching his strategy? He's going to pit with these guys this time, realizing that he doesn't need to go any further, and he's going to try to now use that pace that he has to just straight up pass a lot of these guys instead of trying to get the fresher tires. So interesting for him to switch that up. He's obviously gained a lot of time here, and now he's going to try to make that work, and he's solidly in the top 5, but now he's going to try to turn that into a podium.
Boy, that's a hunt that I can't wait to watch here as Spencer Owens receives his service. He is down and away, and Mike McConville still left sitting there on pit road there getting his 4 new tires. But, yeah, that's going to be a good one to watch here as now both the 12 and the 81 have received service, and they are out of pit lane here. And here comes the 1 of Jared Darling. He has now passed the 12 of Zach Henry. He was the first one on pit road behind Nathan Jump, and it looks like actually Nathan Jump has lost a little bit of a time. He is behind the 1 of Jared Darling. Who pit after him?
I don't think, no. Jump pit after Darling, so Darling would gain time, but Jump definitely lost some time on pit road. I'm not sure where that really came from because he's off behind Zach Henry, it looks like now. So we're waiting for timing and scoring to catch up, but right now, Spencer Owens still, I believe, comes out as your leader. No change there, but Jared Darling has surpassed Nathan Jump, who was struggling on those older tires, and actually it's looking like Zach Henry's actually lined up behind Jump. So we'll wait for timing and scoring to catch up as we still got Caressel, Sensi, Woodall, and others yet to pit, but Spencer Owens will come out with the lead once again.
Oh, Spencer Owens, he's got the lead and then some there. He's about a half a straightaway ahead of the next driver behind him, that being the 1 of Jared Darling. So Spencer still putting on a class act here in Texas as he flies by the 52 of Ross Brockman, who I believe is now coming to pit road this time. And yeah, Spencer, just such dominating pace tonight. Yeah, now I can't even say it. Why didn't you qualify it all season, Spencer?
I mean, he's 1.5 miles, so he's been lights out pretty much every single time. The only other guy with a better average finish than him is Nathan Jump. Otherwise, Spencer Owens has top 10'd him to death, but tonight he's really shown what kind of pace he has, obviously running up front within the top 3. I think 3rd is the lowest he's been aside from pit cycles, so definitely showing what he's got as Sensi hits pit road. I believe Caressel came with him. Sensi actually went through his box a little bit. That's going to put a little bit of a damper on his night, but it looks like that'll cycle us through pit stops as Spencer Owens will go back to the lead. Ross Brockman still has yet to pit, but he's been running this long game all night, and unfortunately just hasn't really been working out for him overall.
Spencer Owens continues to lap the field here, and he's starting to come back up on the lap truck of Jackson Sims, who early on had lots of pace, but then got picked up a unlucky speeding penalty on pit road, and that has just absolutely destroyed his race here. As you see now, Ross Brockman, one of the final drivers out there to hold on to that, to hold on to the lead in their old tires, and he elects to come to pit road, so that will cycle it out completely and move Spencer Owens back to the lead here in Texas.
And Jared Darling has been passed by Nathan Jump, Zach Henry right there, 3 trucks under a blanket. That's all for second. It's 6 seconds behind Spencer Owens, but Zach Henry has really worked this pit stop and this green flag pit stop sequence well, and he has now put himself in a spot as he looks to the inside of Jared Darling to go and attack. Now Nathan Jump for that second spot. He's going to clear Darling into the corner, and we're going to go ahead and take our hopefully last break as we look towards 25 to go, and we'll come back and take you to the end.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Okay. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again, then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Welcome back to the Texas Motor Speedway, where the story continues to be Spencer Owens and his dominating pace here. You can't see it on the broadcast, but looking on a track map, he has literally run away from the entire field. There are it's him and 2 lap cars next to him, and then literally half a track in either direction from out in front of him and behind him to those second place guys in Zach Henry now, who has taken over the second place spot from Nathan Jump. So big championship implications there if Zach can try and claw back that lead that Jump's built up. And yeah, Spencer Owens just putting an absolute whooping on the field tonight.
I think that's what we call taking it to a different zip code. And he has done that tonight. And I'm interested to see, you mentioned Zach Henry and Nathan Jump. Oh, Zach gets a little loose off turn 2 a little bit. And that's what I'm interested to see is how those tires handle later in this run. Zach used a lot of that stuff up, getting around both Jared and Jump. Maybe he knows that he can push that hard at the beginning, but we'll have to see how he handles that as this run goes on and if Jump can get back to him. But those 3 don't seem to be leaving each other anytime soon. McConville, who was on a solid march all the way up through, pitted with these guys, changed his strategy, and now is kind of found himself just sitting in 5th pretty comfortably. And then we've got Barb, who's definitely worth mentioning back there in 6th, has driven his way up from, at one point he was down at about 25th or so after the first pit stop.
Yeah, Mike McConville came out behind Zach Henry on that last pit stop by about 2 to 3 seconds, I want to say. He has now closed that gap to the 4th place truck of Jared Darling to within 2 seconds, looking at about 1.5 seconds. So that late run pace from Mike McConville really starting to come on strong here as he has drawn a bead on the 1 truck now of Jared Darling. Look for Mike to go and get him a podium spot here tonight. Maybe we'll be talking to him at the end of the night.
Spencer playing a lot of strategy up here. Just let Adam Zorn and just drop completely off of Jackson Sims there. He had opened it up from 6 seconds to about 7 seconds. Now he's back down to 6.7. So sitting here playing a bit of a game, trying to make sure that he can just manage his truck and not deal with anybody's trap here.
And you can't really blame him. I mean, we talked about how he checked out into his own zip code, and that's really the safest way to get around these tracks in this league here is just be all by yourself, and you don't have to worry about anyone else up there either in front of you, to the outside of you, or behind you. So can't really blame him for that, as he is still just all by his lonesome here, as we've got 2, 3, and 4 lined up nose to tail.
Yeah, those guys will not get off of each other, and it's creating a really fun race back there. Another group that's kind of on top of each other has been Chris Heller, Eric Keff, Gavin Fitzgerald, and others, all for about that 7th, 8th, 9th spot. So they were a little bit closer before. They've kind of cycled out a bit, as you can see Gavin dealing with Ross Brockman, who may or may not have fresher tires. He gets a little bit loose behind him, but Gavin's been marching these guys down. Hasn't really had a strong run tonight, but has been right around that 10th spot and now trying to sneak his way up towards 7th or 8th there after starting 16th tonight.
Yeah, Gavin pitted a little bit later than all the guys in front of him, so having that tire advantage is proving crucial here as he is starting to tick away the spots here. His next target is the 63 of Eric Kepfin, his Spectrum teammate there. So a promising run for Gavin here as we get into the later part of this event. Elliot, I wanted to talk about the track itself because we're at, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, we're at the legacy version of Texas, the one prior to the reconfig in turn 1 and 2 and a repave. So how does that affect, or what the difference there between the two configurations, and how are these drivers taking that difference into their steering inputs?
Well, I think 3 and 4 is I mean, they're both massive adjustments, but I think 3 and 4 here is a really big adjustment. Obviously, with the new repave, you can pretty much run flat out, wide open, and it's really just a one groove lane, but you can see how these guys have to kind of lift on entry and manage how they run through 3 and 4, and they can really use the top side to pinch down the guy on the bottom and make a really solid run out of it. Zach Henry got really loose underneath that lap car and jumped. Now looking at the 2nd spot here, right up behind his teammate, and you can see these guys even moving up the track, trying to use that top lane in 3 and 4, not something you do on the repave. And then 1 and 2, kind of similar. They run the bottom, and you're going to lift a lot, I'd say, on the new repave with how much it's banked and how awkward the turn-in is compared to this. And with this older version, it's a little bit bumpier, but they're going to be using a little bit more throttle coming off the corner. But you can just see how loose Zach is, and he cannot put the power down, and that's what I was talking about. I didn't know if he pushed a little bit too hard at the beginning. Usually Zach's really good about not overusing his stuff, and he knows how much he can get out of the truck, but it looks like at the beginning of the run that he did a little bit too much to try to get out in front of Nathan Jump, and now he's suffering. His Jump looks to the outside. Jared Darling not too far back either, and if he gets too far off pace, he'll have Mike McConville right down his throat as well.
Oh, Mike McConville is absolutely salivating at the idea of these guys getting side by side. This pair here had opened up a little bit of a gap to Jared Darling there in the 4th position. Now he's drawn back up to him now that they got side by side, but Nathan Jump goes right back by the 12 of Zach Henry, and I imagine that gap's about to start stretching back out again as Zach is still loose off exit. Like you said, Elliot, putting that foot down earlier in the run means that you can't put it down late in the run.
Yeah, he definitely, I mean, I give him credit. He tried. He definitely made it work for a little bit. Looked like Superman for a little bit, but now definitely paying the price for what he did early on. And honestly, Jump has been catching Spencer Owens. The crazy thing is Jump's the fastest truck on track right now, within 7.5 seconds of Spencer. It was climbing a bit, but now he seemed to turn it back up, and he's starting to close back in. Not that I believe it really matters that much coming towards 5 to go. We're winding this one down, but he was starting to reel Spencer back in.
Jared Darling here looking to the inside of Zach Henry. Those two trucks have been side by side. Zach Henry brushes the wall there off of 2. Those tires are absolutely screaming here. Side by side, back they go into turn 3 here. Give the advantage to Jared Darling, and he's going to clear Zach Henry this time. So move Jared back up into the bronze medal position here as Zach Henry starts to slip back down the leaderboard here. Next on the list is the 81 of Mike McConville there. We've talked about him all night. Coming on strong with those late tires. He's run down all 3 of these guys up here.
Yeah, Zach's still sliding. McConville might be able to get there as both Zach and Jared, you see, come off the wall. They're both really struggling on corner exit. McConville drives it down in there, and he is just getting ever closer to potentially getting himself a podium finish out of this one. I mean, that's all just down to how they've been driving. McConville changed up how he was driving the truck in the first run. He said it, and it has worked for him all night long. He's still the fastest truck on track, even running times faster than our leader, Spencer Owens, and up there in second, Nathan Jump. But now he's in a little bit of traffic. He's going to try to work his way around Zach Henry, and it's going to get a little bit harder as he moves up here, coming to 5 to go.
Yeah, as this lap traffic now, that with Robin Durr being behind them now, that is the last little bit of lap traffic that they need. They're not going to see anybody else for the next 5 laps coming to the end of this thing. So Mike McConville, the time is now. Make your move, man, going up to that 4th spot, and you're watching that third place truck of Jared Darling start to drive away a little bit. So it's go time, Mike.
And you can see he knows that he's sliding those rear tires trying to get off that corner. He's going to get to the inside of Zach Henry. Can he complete the pass into 3? He's been the one that's been driving into 3 really hard. Zach's going to kind of follow him in there. You can see the truck slide into 3. They're side by side. That top lane's probably going to prevail a little bit, but if he can use some side draft, he might be able to get a little bit closer through 1 and 2 and potentially clear him off of 2 depending on how he gets through the corner. But that bottom lane in 1 and 2 has been really hard to work out, and it doesn't look like anybody's really been able to complete passes through there. All the completions kind of come through 3 and 4. You can see him sliding through the corner really hard again, kind of making Zach use his stuff up on the top lane. They're still side by side. Really good racing there for the 4th spot.
This is great action. You're watching. We were looking at Mike McConville's door numbers there, coming off of the corner down into it, and he's now going to clear Zach Henry and move up into that 4th position. And with 3 laps to go, I don't believe he's going to be able to run down Jared Darling, but it has been a whale of an effort for Mike McConville here in a roller coaster night for that 81 truck.
Yeah, I mean, McConville has definitely obviously started second, had a really good starting spot, but he was one of the only guys that pitted on that first pit stop, so he has not been in the top 5 pretty much all night until recently and all the way at the beginning. So just a really different strategy that he went on, and it's put him in a really good spot here. But another guy that's driven up that we haven't really talked about is Chris Heller, all the way up in 7th now. He started 18th, and he has found himself right outside that top 5. Was closing in on William Barbagelata, but I think Barbagelata has some fresher tires and hasn't really given him a chance to kind of break into that 6th, 5th spot. So Heller doing a really fine job in 7th. Obviously, we interviewed him last week off that 2nd place finish, but he finds himself just outside the top 5 here tonight, trying to close in on Michael Sensi for that 11th place points position.
As we have now hit the 1 to go signal this time, all eyes have been on Spencer Owens here, as he has just about checked out on the entire field, putting on an absolute masterclass as he fires down the back straightaway. Had the speed all night long. We talked about if he would qualify in a couple more, qualify better in a couple of these, he'd have the advantage. But it's this time he did qualify. He's got all the speed in the world, and Spencer Owens is going to take it out here in Texas.
He was just completely untouchable tonight. 8 seconds up on Nathan Jump. Jared Darling, Mike McConville in 4th, and Zach Henry will round out your top 5. Just an impressive drive by that 23 truck tonight.
I mean, you said it, Elliot. He was in his own zip code. There was no touching him. Shades of Jimmy Johnson in the mid 2000s. There was nobody. He would just be in an absolute realm of his own with nobody to contend with. And that 23 truck really took it to the rest of the field tonight. And he earns a well-deserved victory out here in the penultimate race of season 9. As Spencer Owens will start to burn it down here in a well-earned victory out in Texas. Here we'll get your interviews squared up to interview your top 3 here. But Spencer Owens, once again, an awesome performance from him, burning the rears off of that 23 truck here. Well deserved, and a great run from him. As we have gotten our top 3 into our waiting room here, and we will kick things off with your 3rd place finisher, Jared Darling. Jared, is Brittle and the boys up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, man, it was awesome. You were in a dogfight all night long with the 25 and the 12. Take us through all those laps and all those side-by-side corners, man. It looked awesome out there.
Yeah, tonight was probably one of the most fun races of the season, honestly. You can move around. Every line was kind of working. It was loose. It was a battle, honestly. But it was so much fun with Nathan and Zach tonight. I mean, I think we were near each other about the whole race. I don't know what the heck Spencer had on us, but he absolutely killed us tonight. But yeah, we had a great race for second there, and I think me and Jump were just so equal there on the long run there, and it was just really hard to keep the truck underneath you because it was just sliding off the corners. I can't tell you how many times I almost looped it coming off the corners tonight.
Oh yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
We caught a couple of those. It looked like it was hairy off turn 2, especially. all night long. You were, like we said, you were dogfighting with the 12 and the 25. Did you think that you had anything for that 23? Obviously, I mean, at any given point, was there any indication that he had the speed early on? Really, your only shot was that first caution, and then he just kind of blipped off into the distance.
Yeah, I no shot at all. I don't know. He beat us by what, 8 seconds? So he whooped us tonight. But yeah, I don't know. That first run, it was fun to lead and all that, but he just kept driving away, even from jump too. So yeah, he just had it figured out tonight for sure. We didn't on him, but it was a good race for second at least.
Definitely, you guys put on a show, and I think you guys are going to be the show next week when we head to Homestead. With the way points have shaken up, it's just about wrapped up. If for the championship, if Nathan Jump gets less than 35 trucks, I believe, in the race next week, he will have the championship locked up. So all eyes are going to be on you and Spencer for the battle for the third place spot. You guys are locked in a dead heat going into the final race at Homestead. How are you feeling about that one?
Yeah, Homestead's a really fun track. I really hope the high line comes in and we can move around just like we did tonight. Yeah, like I said, tonight was so much fun. It was probably, I thought that was the most fun race we've had this season as far as behind the wheel. But hopefully next week's just the same and we can put another show like we did tonight. It was awesome.
Yeah, man, it was awesome to watch, and a well-earned third place finish for you. One more thing before we let you go. Do you have anybody to thank for your awesome run tonight?
Yeah, you guys' broadcasting as always. Can't wait to go back and watch me almost die however many times you caught that. Good job, Spencer. I think that's his first truck win, so a long time coming for him, so that's awesome. And shout out to the team. I think we all had pretty good runs tonight, and everybody that watching, shout out to, I got a couple people watching for me. Tony, Josh, Elliot, thanks for watching, and we'll see you at Homestead.
That was your third place finisher, Jared Darling. Thank you so much for talking to us, Jared, and go enjoy your finish.
Thank you.
And second place tonight, still looking at clinching that championship next week. Nathan Jump, you get a copy.
Yeah, what's going on, bro?
How do you feel after tonight? I felt like you came in here, you had a little bit of a different agenda. You didn't have to go out and win or anything, but I felt like this was, one of your tracks, one of your nights. Unfortunately, didn't get it done, but how'd your night go from inside the cockpit tonight?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to win. Me and Jared were battling side by side for like 10 laps, and I looked at Spencer behind me, and I was like, yeah, he's in a pretty good spot. But I short pit just one lap too soon, and on lap 33 or whatever, and that put a crutch on me for the whole race, and just had to save from there on out, which kind of sucked.
Yeah, we definitely noticed that. We didn't know if it was going to come down to tires or fuel for you. Was it that close on fuel, or were you just trying to conserve to make it all the way? Because you obviously elongated your two runs after that. Do you wish you would have potentially played that different and had a different chance after that?
Yeah, obviously. I wish I stayed out one more lap, because I like to be on the aggressive side. I want to pit early, and I want to get track position, and I want to be aggressive everywhere I go. And Brittle told me and Zach to put on a show, and it's kind of hard to put on a show when you're put in a box like that. So I don't know. I wish we had a little bit more laps too, because it was a really good setup. So kind of just sucked in my opinion. Not too bad, but just a little bit that it became a fuel race for us.
Yeah, it was right on that cusp of being a two-stopper. So looking forward to Homestead. Obviously, you've got a chance to still knock out one more win there and make it 8 on the season and win ultimately half the races on the season and solidify yourself as a champion. How do you feel going into Homestead now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still motivated. There's still a pole to get, 100 laps to lead, and a win to get. So I want it all. If there's something to win, I want to go get it. I thought I had pole tonight, and then out of nowhere, 4 people beat me. So maybe that was just going to be how my night was going to go. But second place is fine. Some people dream about that. And I don't know. I just want to win, man. Just want to win.
Well, you definitely gave it a strong effort tonight. Came up one spot short, and we'll have to see you in Homestead. Anyone you want to thank for tonight's run?
Yeah, shout out Spencer. I talk about fuel strategy and all that, but he was probably still the guy to beat. I mean, he was pretty tough there. He was telling me what he was doing, and I definitely wasn't doing that. So he was still probably going to get me. And I guess shout out 2511. Got one more race with him, and then I'm going back to Spectrum. kind of where it all started for me in this league. But other than that, thanks for the broadcast, guys.
Yep, sounds good. Looking forward to talking to you next week, Jump. Always a pleasure.
See you, man.
And certainly last but not least, your winner tonight, Spencer Owens in the 23 truck. Spencer, it's Brittle and the boys up in the booth. Got a copy?
I do.
Well, man, congratulations. Your first truck win. In all the excitement, we missed that stat. Your first truck win in GLTS. How are you feeling tonight in dominating fashion?
I'm feeling great. It's been a long time coming. We've definitely missed out on a lot of races that I feel like we should have won, but it feels good we finally got this one.
Yeah, man, I'm happy for you. I can't believe that we missed that stat, but just put an absolute whooping on the field tonight. Did you think anyone had anything for you there? I mean, we talked about it. You were up half a track on everybody.
Well, I'm not dumb. I know Jump and Zach Henry. They always have something left in the tank that I usually don't have. So I was waiting to see if they had anything left, and man, they're at 10 to go. I saw them not coming. I was like, oh my goodness, it's gonna finally happen. And I was just praying for that caution not to come out.
Well, nothing ever happened, and buddy, you were the class of the field all night long. Was it? What do you think attributed to your success? Was it the track? Do you feel good about Legacy Texas, or was it the setup? We had a little bit of different setup here tonight, or you just know you got the skills to pay the bills here.
Well, I love Old Texas. Old Texas is one of my favorite tracks. I've always loved coming here. The setup was great. I loved that it wasn't a plow box for once. We could actually get up and ride wherever you wanted to, and it definitely, you had to take a lot more discipline to drive it, and that I'm not very good at disciplining myself to save the whole run. And tonight I just took a different approach, and I just disciplined myself the entire way.
I was gonna say, well, you could have fooled all of us, man. Just an absolute masterclass out here in the West. We talked with Jared Darling here, our third place finisher. With Nathan Jump finishing as well as he did over Zach Henry, that all but wraps up the championship. He's got a 40-point gap over second place there. But all eyes will be next week on you and Jared for that third place spot. There is a 1-point gap between you and Jared. How are you feeling about that going next week into Homestead for the final race?
Oh, that's awesome. I'm congrats to Nathan Jump. He definitely deserves the championship. I think 7 or something wins. That's something stupid amount of wins. I mean, he definitely deserves it. So congrats to him on that. But yeah, we're just going to go into Homestead and try to do what we do best and try to get another win. It should definitely be a fun one. And hopefully it's entertaining for you guys.
Well, if it's a blast to watch, definitely one of the classics in this league here. Before we let you go tonight, do you have anybody to thank for your awesome run?
I got to thank you guys for the broadcast. I got to thank everybody at Spectrum. They helped me a lot this weekend. I got to thank Dark Horse as well. They were a great help this weekend as well. Everybody watching, and just everybody in the field tonight. It was a really good race.
It absolutely was. Spencer, thank you so much for talking to us, and congratulations once again, your first truck win in Great Lakes racing history.
Thank you, guys.
And that'll just about wrap up our post-race interviews here. Elliot, how do we feel about Legacy Texas?
I think that was one of our best races of the year. Obviously, limited it to just that single caution at the beginning and let them race it out for nearly 95-something laps. And that's always incredibly fun to watch. Got to watch a little bit of the different strategies play out with fuel, and got to see Spencer Owens just drive away from everybody else. I really thought coming in here that you'd have someone like Jump or Zach Henry do what Spencer Owens did. And, I did not have Spencer Owens in the middle of my bingo board there, and he definitely made that work. So huge congrats to him. Awesome to see him get it done finally and in that dominating fashion. Really, really cool to see that. Everybody gets, everyone gets one of those wins, it feels like, with 1 or 2 laps led, nail biter at the end. But, man, he just came out here and took it, and that was awesome to see.
Yeah, definitely putting on a masterclass. We've said it all night long. We're going to be singing his praises for the rest of the broadcast. Awesome night from Spencer Owens. As you look on at the official results here, we'll take you through the running order. Spencer Owens brings it home in first, no doubt about that. Nathan Jump, Jared Darling, second and third, respectively. Mike McConville An awesome night for him, bringing it home in the 4th place position. Started up in second, had a really roller coaster of a night. Started up in second, fell all the way back in that early pit stop, and then marched his way slowly but surely up to the front. And an awesome night here from Mike. Zach Henry, your championship bridesmaid, it looks like, slips to 5th place, and with a 40-point gap, it seems like it's all over but the crying here as we head into Homestead next week. Will Barbagelata making his long-awaited return to Great Lakes action, brings it home in 6th in true Barbagelata fashion, so great to have him back. Chris Heller brings it home in 7th in the 11 truck. Eric Kepf, an awesome night for him. We saw him flirting with the top 5. He brings it home in the 8th position there. Nick Caressel, a Spectrum teammate to Eric there, in 9th place. Really a lot of Spectrum presence up here in the top 10, and with Gavin Fitzgerald rounding out your top 10 here in Texas.
Yeah, really cool. Really cool seeing those guys run well. It seems like it's been a tough season for all those guys, except really Spencer and Jared, both having pretty stellar runs. But right here in 11th, Louis Woodall with a really solid run. Started 21st, ended up right outside that top 10. Had a chance at that top 10, but kind of missed out a little bit. But strong run nevertheless. Matt Durr comes home. I'm going to call it a disappointing 12th for him. Started 5th and just never really got it right under him. Aiden DuPont right behind him. Another one started towards the back. Started on pit road, actually, Aiden DuPont and Ross Brockman did. And DuPont drove all the way up to 13th. What a night for him. That's got to be due to some practicing with his team over at Dark Horse and working with those guys. Michael Sensi finishes 14th after starting 13th. Just a quiet night. Remember, he got the wall with Gavin Fitzgerald early on and just never really felt the same from there. Brent Kingcott finishes right where he started. Just another one. Solid run right in that mid-pack. Finishes 15th. We documented Jackson Sims with his speeding penalty and slight issues there after running around the top 5. Ends up 16th. I'm sure a disappointing night for him and a what could have been from his perspective. Rod Fosna finishes 17th. Pretty solid run. Ross Brockman documented the fact he also started from pit road, drove all the way up to 18th. And Preston Henry and Nathan Nixon, who was on a very different strategy, ends up 19th and then 20th to round out your top 20.